TIFU hooking up with a woman whose roommate hated me. Last night I showed up at a woman's flat to hook up. I'm gonna call her Penelope, because she looked like a Penelope and I want to avoid referring to her as woman for the rest of the story. Penelope and I matched on Tinder a few days ago. Our online communication revealed that both of us experienced an unpleasant breakup recently. We made a pact to forget about our exes and just enjoy each other with no strings attached. So, there I was, knocking on the door of Penelope's flat when a man who kind of looked like Josh Brolin answered the door. He introduced himself as Penelope's husband before asking me how old I was. I said 23. He shook his head and said, even younger than the previous guy. Penelope appeared moments later and practically pushed the husband out of the way. She apologized on the husband's behalf and said he was her soon-to-be ex-husband who was now nothing more than an annoying roommate until she's financially secure enough to move out. Penelope grabbed my arm and whisked me away to the bedroom. I asked if it was appropriate to sleep together with her ex in the flat. She said her ex was not gonna be a problem. She was wrong. He was a big problem for my peace of mind and not to mention my erection. I struggled to get it up when Penelope was going down on me because I could hear her ex yelling in the background. I think he was playing online games and communicating with other players. All I heard was F-bombs and death threats. I couldn't help but feel like he was low-key trying to intimidate me. I decided to go down on Penelope to see if burying my face between her legs would distract me from her disruptive ex. It was working. I actually managed to get hard in the process. However, as we prepared for penetration, the ex knocked on the door and informed Penelope that her dad was there. Penelope got out of bed and got dressed. I followed her lead and asked if I should leave. She advised me not to leave the room until she returned. An argument erupted between Penelope and her ex as soon as she was on the other side of the door. Based on what I heard, Penelope had no idea her ex made plans to spend time with her dad. The dad assured Penelope that he only agreed to have one beer with his son-in-law. The son-in-law apologized to the dad for the tension in the atmosphere and asked Penelope if she was going to introduce her father to the young man in her bed. At that moment I stopped eavesdropping and backed away from the door like the stampede in Jumanji was approaching. Penelope opened the door a few minutes later and explained the situation. She said her ex used her dad to sabotage her time with me and create an awkward environment. I assumed Penelope was gonna ask me to leave, but she did the opposite. She invited me to have a beer with her ex and her dad. She said the two of us had nothing to be ashamed of, so why not? Not gunnily, I would have preferred going home, but I got the feeling that the beer thing was some kind of reverse psychology power move for Penelope and I didn't want to abandon her, especially if she was willing to sleep with me. I finished my beer as fast as possible and called it a night. Based on the intense eye contact and uncomfortable silences, it was clear that the ex-husband and the dad wanted me gone. Penelope unexpectedly kissed me and squeezed my UTT after her ex and her dad refused to respond tone when I said goodbye to them. I appreciate what she did now that I'm somewhere safe, but I was terrified of physically getting thrown out of the flat when that happened lol. I think I'm done hooking up with random people on the internet fourth time being. TL. Doctor matched with a woman on Tinder. Showed up at her flat to hook up. Little did I know that her roommate was her soon-to-be ex-husband and a villain who had plans to get rid of me. TIFU by getting my girlfriend high. I don't even really know where to start, but here is me best shot. I, 24M, and my girlfriend, 23F. We're hanging out at home as we usually do during the week. Both go to work, have good jobs, come home and spend time together. I'm an avid 420 consumer, her not so much. But it's Monday night, not much going on and she decides she wants to smoke with me. I have different types of wax that I like and one is clear distillate which is around 96% THC. So Eli both containers on the table, get a movie going, and go to get some snacks. Her trying to be sexy gets naked, and takes a Rick Ross-sized dab of the distillate. Terrible idea. I tell her she has about 4 minutes before she's immobilized and Sharina, 2 minutes later she's in the bathroom puking. I bring her water and do all the necessary things but she asks me to leave the bathroom as Tonnet see her puking her guts out. So I go back to the living room and watch TV checking in once in a while. This whole time I never noticed her phone sitting on the couch until she started getting numerous texts and Snapchat notifications. My curiosity gets the best of my and I look and she has 3 male co-workers on Snapchat that are all texting her after hours. Odd sure but I blow it off as work friends. Until I looked in her memories. One particular co-worker, we'll call him Greg, has a bunch of selfies in her memories, some with her, some without. So I open their messages and oh my God, staring back at me is an exchange of nude photos and even videos that he had recorded of the mond sent to her for keeping. You can imagine the context of such videos. I'm heartbroken, sure, Booty'd been cheated on and knew I could get through it. What horrifies me is the size of this guy's ick. I've never seen anything so massive. It looked like a half-used roll of paper towels. One of the videos consisted of her giving the dude head and she could barely get the tip in her mouth. Seriously, this dude isn't hung like a horse. Horses are hung like him. I'm so ashamed and embarrassed that this has been going on, and I have actually come into her work and had conversations with these people who are ucking my girlfriend. TLDR girlfriend got too high and went through her phone while she was sick and seen her being degraded by an absolute beef bus attached to her coworker. Update. Knot has been cut and she's currently at her mom's until she can get help moving everything. TIFU by sending my hookup into a panic attack by whipping it out. Obligatory. This actually happened about 4 days ago. I, 20 male, recently gotten back into online dating, mainly out of boredom and a lack of new people in my life. However, I will not lie, I am simply using the apps to get laid, on account I am nothing more than a man. I matched with this woman who was 27 years old. On her bio she said she was looking for something casual. Naturally I asked her how casual of our relationship she was looking for, and within 2 dozen messages we agreed on hooking up. Unfortunately I did not have a place to take her back to, so we agreed on CarX. It is now 1 a.m. and I finally picked her up and drove around for a bit. We talked, and cruised around the neighborhood until we found a dark dead end, and began making out. We get a little handsy but nothing too intense until she stops and tells me, I haven't had X in 2 years. Obviously there is nothing wrong with that, so I assure her we can ease into it, and take our time. We get back to eating each other's faces and she begins to straddle me. She's grinding on me, and I'm just kind of existing, and then she hops off. She looks at me and says, alright, take it out. Being extraordinarily excited to rail this stranger, I whip my ick out and hear her gasp. And oh my God, was that an ego boost, or was an ego boost? The overwhelming confidence died as soon as he finally looked at her and saw she was gasping for air, clenching her fist and shaking. All I can hear her mutter is, I can't breath. Not gonna lie, it took me a minute to remember to put my ick away, but immediately after doing so I began to comfort her and tell her we didn't have Toto anything. We ended up getting gas station soda and driving around a bit more to get her to calm down, went home and deleted Bumble. TLDR, I ruined my hookup because I caused a panic attack. Edited version. My Bumble date showed signs of intense sexual trauma, so instead of doing the deed we got drinks and drove her home. Update. To answer questions that are being asked, I'd like to address a few. 1. She has my number. I did not ghost her. She told me she might text me if she feels comfortable enough to. 2. I deleted Bumble on account of a series of interactions that made the app uncomfortable, including meeting a convicted RPIST, getting stalked, and having a low-like ratio. 3. If she ever reaches out, more than likely she will not as life goes on. I will let y'all know. TIFU by calling my wife with the N-word while she was working. Long story short. I, 30, am black and my wife, 28, is white. She got a new job as a receptionist in an elderly residence. Recently we had a discussion about why I sometimes call my closest friends by the N-word, and she thought it was a good idea to do that with her too, since half of my friends are white too. So I started doing it and it was funny AF. Then yesterday she called me from her work with the speaker on, as she was busy and never expected me to say something stupid, and the first thing I said was, "Sup N." A long moment of silence came after it and she told me she was going to call me back. Turns out the other receptionist is black and heard what I said and was outraged by it, and my wife had to convince her that I am black too by showing her our pics. They ended up laughing about it. Edit 1. I used the wrong word by saying that her colleague was outraged. Her real reaction was Thatch had a surprised Pikachu face for 5 seconds, then she told my wife, "It's none of my business, but do you guys call yourselves like that?" My wife's answer was, "Yeah, he's black." And they both exploded in laughter. Then my wife showed her our pics to comfort her. My wife told me that today her colleague invited her to lunch and they had a really good vibe. Edit 2. To the people trying to make me look like I am a disgrace to the black community. Chill, I am happy the way I am. If it makes you irritated, Follow the steps. Apply cool, not cold or ice, water for at least 5 minutes by running water over the burn, soaking it in a water bath or applying a clean, wet towel. Use a moisturizing lotion, such as aloe vera, once the skin has cooled. Protect the burn from pressure and friction and cover with a clean, dry cotton dressing. Relieve pain and swelling with ibuprofen or acetaminophen. I am no medical expert but hope it helps. Edit 3. About my grammar. English is my 3rd language. Sorry if your eyes hurt. If the pain doesn't go away, please refer to Edit 2 and follow the steps. Cheers. TLDR, wife called me from work on speaker. I called her by the N-word. Wife is white and I am black. Her black colleague was outraged. Wife explained to her our situation. They laughed about it.